he says it's awful. Yeah, I think a lot of people tore up.
Yeah. Well, Cooper got it. What? 1 second. They asked Cooper to do the welcome. What they did, as Bobby probably told you, they picked a bunch of Thomas's favorite verses. Yep. So the whole service was basically stuff that Thomas loved, and they asked Cooper to do Psalm 73. And when we first sat down, I turned the thing over to Missy and I said, I thought Cooper wasn't going to speak because I'm telling you, he's been like rocked, like hardly functioning. And I said, man, he got up there and he took a deep breath, and I just sat there, Coach, and I just closed my eyes and I just prayed. I said, Lord, just help him get through it. And he got through it, but I don't know how, because
that's tough.
It's just sad.
Welcome to Mountaineer Football Tonight, the weekly coaches show for Kings Mountain High School, brought to you by KMHS Sports and the Kings Mountain Touchdown Club.
Welcome, fans, Mountaineer Football Tonight. I'm your host, Craig Short. Drew's behind the controls. Coach Herron's here to my right. We're going to get with him in just a moment. I'm sorry we're delayed this week. Had a few things pop up, family related, but I know you all understand and appreciate you sticking around. We are going to talk about the victory this past Friday night over North Gaston. We'll do our Butler's Outdoor Design Players of the Week, Teammate of the Week, Overall Player of the Week, and then we'll also talk about this week's upcoming playoff game of the first round versus East Lincoln. Stick around after the break and we'll get right to it.
Mountaineer Football Tonight is sponsored by H.B. Jones Appraisals, KM Family YMCA, KM Paint Pros LLC, Arthur Services Incorporated, Harris Funeral Home,
Welcome back, fans. Coach.
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
My hand's cold.
That's okay. You've been working. Coach, great win Friday night. Drew and I were talking. One of the challenges I know you put to the team was to play to the team's ability, not to the team they were playing's ability or how the way they play. I don't want to say talent level because I'm not trying to be disrespectful. But it was a complete game. You and I were just talking. You counted and I counted because I take notes. During the game, 5 3-and-outs in the first quarter alone. And scores. I mean, we get the ball. We start fast at 50. Then TJ completes a big pass to Gash, and then we score only like a couple of minutes into the game. Yeah. And I'm gonna go through just a couple of highlights, and I'm just gonna let you talk because you got better notes than I do. The defense gives up or gets out and does a 3-and-out. Then we did a 59-yard pass to Gash, and we're 14-0. Then a 3-and-out, another 3-and-out, the big pass play to Tex, it's 21-0. Then another 3-and-out to capitalize again. Joe breaks a run. He has a big run, and we're up 28. Then we to zip, and then the errant snap, and we have a scoop and score. Antonio got that one. Mm-hmm. And we're up 35-0 in the first quarter. So go back through it. I mean, I hit some highlights. I want you to talk about the fast start and like what you thought about. I know you're pleased, because of how we executed. Yes, but talk about like the fast start of the first quarter.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things that you like to see happen because it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the game. And so I jumped them pretty hard down there before we came out. Our guys, it's not just our guys. I think this is probably a global problem. I mean, social media and all that stuff. But I'm just used to our team being in a spot before the game, they're together and they're concentrating on what we're getting ready to do. And you look up and you see a kid standing over there by the fence talking to people, and I laid into them, got them over there, and y'all, you better come out, and you better come out right, you better come out fast. And they did exactly what we wanted to do. So it was good that obviously they were locked into what they were trying to get done.
Yeah, I thought so. I mean, because to me, not only the defense absolutely smothered them.
Yep.
They could not do anything. They couldn't even get plays off.
Yeah, I think we were talking about that. So I go back and look. So we had a sack, a tackle for loss, another sack, tackle for loss, and then a snap over the head, then tackle for loss, sack, tackle for loss.
Yeah.
So and of all of those, during that whole first quarter, I don't think they got a yard.
No, and I don't. And to my recollection, they never got outside the 30.
Right.
They were inside the 20, I think,
Yes.
pretty much the whole time. Because that's the other thing. Rom kicked his
He did
tail
a great
off.
job.
Great deep kicks all night.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
The first kick we were going to sky kick it and just to see what we were getting.
Yeah.
And he missed it, so it looked like we were like doing a little pop up over the front line. Some people do that as an onside kick. That was not the intention. He missed that one. But after that, we decided, man, just kick it. Let's just kick it. And so he did a great job.
But even that one, it didn't hurt at all.
No, it
you
didn't
still
hurt.
executed and
That's
played
right.
the way we're supposed to play. We get to the second quarter and another 3 and out, and they punt. That's where we blocked the punt.
Yes.
And then when they get the ball, they say they stripped it. I think Joe was running it.
Yeah.
They said they took it from him, and I couldn't tell because it was in like a big wad of people.
Yeah.
But I don't know that they took it so much. Did they?
did.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know either, and I that's why I was kind of upset. I was like, look, if it was a fumble, somebody should have thrown a beanbag.
Yeah.
And nobody threw a beanbag, and then it's kind of they got together and talked, and then they came up with this thing. But it happened on the other side of the pile. But when you look at it, when we saw it on film, they did exactly what the official told me. The guy just reached in, took it right out of his hands, and went the other way. So it was a fumble or the strip ball. But we can't have it. But it happened, and they were correct in the call. So it is what it is. We moved on. I think the guys just kind of. Now I was upset at JoJo because. Emotionally he's not handling it the way it needs to be handled, and so we got that straightened out, and he wants to be great, and he don't want to make mistakes.
Sure.
But, he's got to learn how to handle it. Mm-hmm. So anyway, but I think he grew a little bit in that respect.
Well, I saw. I think it was on maybe the second drive where they went in low on him one time. He was turning toward the line of scrimmage. He was running. They held him up a little bit, and he turned in, and they went low on his leg.
Yep.
And it got his shin. Come to find out, he was rubbing his shin. Which was good.
Yeah.
Because I thought that could have been dangerous, of course. But yeah, he still ran well, and I appreciate that. The competitive side, you like that in them and all of them, because that's what I was going to say. The next touchdown we score after even though they got the strip, we still do another 3 and out, which is wonderful.
Yep.
And then we get the ball back and we score at the 7:30 mark. Cam gets a great run. He's got Grayson Hill out in front of him blocking, among others. The OL played great.
They did.
And then that right there puts us up 42-0.
Yeah.
And then we kick off and we're pinning them. And the first play, the safety.
The safety. Yep.
So
over the head.
44 zip like that. DV comes in and gets a big run and executes the offense real well. And we go into the half up 44-0. You had to feel good about how you'd played on both sides. Even starting to put in some subs right then.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we'll talk about in a little bit. It was great to be able to put some of the young guys in the game, and we've been dealing with the 8-quarter rule, which a lot of people don't understand, and so we were making sure that our guys, we had one player, Christian Jarrett, he had 3 quarters left, so he played in the first quarter, and then we couldn't play him.
Right.
We could have played him at any quarter, so we just set him the second quarter. Just said that don't go in the game second quarter, even if somebody tells you to. And then he got to play in the third and fourth. So just to make sure we were sticking by the rules, but it was good to see all those young guys get on the field, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah. So, but Cam did a great job carrying the ball.
That was a good. Tyler has come in and run the ball well. Now Cam's coming in and running well. That obviously we want Joe on the field as much as we can get him, and we won't get him as many touches. I say we, I'm not out there coaching. I know you want to get him as many touches as possible, so does Coach Bolton. But it is good that if he does have to step down for a breather or what have you, we've got good guys.
Yep.
You're not just putting somebody in that doesn't know what to do or how to do it. And I think a lot of that too is aided by how well the OL's playing. The OL has played really well. Coach Cruz has got them ready again, and they show their technique is unreal, and they're playing great. So you come out, you warm up, you go into the second half, and what I've got, that by that time we've got a running clock.
Yes.
I put the only action that I really had in the third quarter was their little drive that they had where they got the score.
Yeah.
They missed the extra point. We go up 44-6, but
it was disappointing because of the 2 catches, the 2 throws and catches, and then the touchdown. The 2 throws that were out in the field that were caught. We got to do a better job of covering. We talked about like this week coming up that we'll talk about. We got to do a better job of covering. But then the touchdown pass was just, we had a young guy on the field and he blew a coverage and the guy just walked right by him, and it was easy. But and of course our guys were upset about it because they were shooting for the shutout, but we just didn't get it done. So it is what it is. It's like my wife, if she had been there, she would have been like, "Oh, you need to let them score," and no, we don't.
No.
But anyway.
I'll tell you this. I can say this. I mean, I'm not going to name names or anything because I honestly don't know who said it, but there were a lot of people the other night around me that I heard them talking. They weren't talking to me, but they were like, why is, we were up 28 and then we got the scoop and score and it was 35 and then we come up and we're trying to score again. I heard a couple of, why is he going in and trying to score? Why is he not calling off? And I said it out loud to my wife, and I said it loud enough I want people to hear. I said, he's trying to get to 42. We're trying to get, no disrespect to North Gaston, but we're trying to get to that clock running so we can get the game done, get some guys in, and get ready for this week.
And don't get anybody hurt.
Correct. There's no sense prolonging it.
And every coach has their own philosophy. My philosophy has always been you play the first half as if it's 0-0 the whole half. Get guys in when you can if you've got that much control of the game, but you play it like that. And then my other rule that a lot of people, when you come out in the very first drive of the second half, don't change anything.
Right.
Keep everything the same. And then as the game finishes up, then that's when you start making changes. I'll promise you, I will never be, and you can go back and check my record from the past, I will never run the score up on kids. I'm not going to do it. I think it's a bad look, and for the guys that do that, I don't have much respect for them. No. So I would never do that on purpose. But we are going to play the game. Right. It's not going to change, and we preach it to our players all the time. It would be hard to go out there and tell them, hey, now just lay down. We want to play, and they want to play. Mm-hmm. So, and that's the hard thing about the running clock is, once the running clock starts, even though, like you're talking about in that situation, we really want it. There's been sometimes that the running clock, it actually hurts you because you don't get a chance to get those young guys on the field. So it's, whatever, 6.5 in one way and half a dozen the other, whatever. And we just, but we're going to coach and we're going to play and we're going to go hard. That's the main thing.
Well, I've heard coaches on all levels say this, like when you are able to put men in that are, are backups and maybe don't play as much, but they are a huge part of the team. you can't tell them not to play.
You can't tell them
because
that.
they've prepared through the week just like everybody else
Everybody
has.
else.
And so it's not like you're going to tell them to go in and
Yeah,
not
they don't.
run hard or block or whatever,
Right.
try to make tackles.
Right. And if you go back and look at the game, we had the ball, I think, on like the 15-yard line going in right before the half. And if we wanted to score again, we would have went faster and probably
Right.
got 3 or 4 snaps instead of just the 2 that we took.
Correct.
So that's not what we're trying to do, and we're playing the game.
Yeah.
We're just
Well,
playing the game.
and I like that too, and I think you do that because also it keeps you in your rhythm.
That's right.
And we finally, we talked about this a few weeks ago after Helene. It threw us off our rhythm a little bit, and we came back to play Forest View. But we're finally, in my opinion, just watching, we're finally in that rhythm now where we're running and we're gelling again. The boys are playing well.
Right.
And that was in the fourth quarter, we get to Bond Plus territory, and Dixon Velez and Hauser both have good runs again. And then
Yeah. That's
when
time.
when Cole Groves goes in
Yeah.
and scores at the 8-minute mark, I know you were on the sideline, but what was great for me was to be able to sit back and see the whole sideline
Yeah.
after y'all made that call. And I didn't realize this. Gabe was telling me that he runs scout running back at practice. So, of course, everybody was fired up. And one of the greatest things was after he scored, coming off the field, when TJ jumped up and tried to back bump him, and it knocked him.
That's the best hit of the night.
It knocked him.
I wish somebody had that on video.
Oh, man, that was fantastic.
It was great, and that's it's a great thing. Is you can see the love and respect that our players have for Cole because of how hard he practices and how hard he plays, and it's like I told Bolton, and that was our Rudy moment right there, and every team can have those at some point. And it was great. It was great for our players. It was great for Cole, and I think everybody. It gave us an opportunity to have some enjoyment.
Yeah.
And it made something for him. He's going to remember the rest of his life.
He
And it's
will.
like I told Coach Bolton. I said, "Hey man, now he's in the book.
He is.
He is in the Kings Mountain book forever."
And
So
as he
it's a
gets
great thing.
older and his memory gets a little faded, that touchdown will get a little bit longer.
Oh, yes, yeah.
It'll get a little bit tougher. It'll be like
He had to
it'll
bounce off about 3 or 4 tacklers.
Game was on the line. That's what'll happen. So Cole, it'll stay true now. But no, in all seriousness, I was happy for him. And then at the end, later on, Coach, at 1:33, we get a field goal. Matthew connects on a great field goal.
Yeah.
And we've got Jan snapping. And Gash Holden, I think, was what it was.
We went Jan to Gash to Vance Johnson.
It was Vance, yes.
So-
I mean, great.
Now the field goal
That
was
was
Matt.
PAT was
the last 2 PATs I made the change, and that's it was just like kicking the field goal. When we kicked the field goal, Coach Bolton came to. He was like, "Coach, you gonna kick a field goal? I mean, you're getting more points." I said, "Well, if we keep the offense out there, we're going to get 6 instead of 3. Just kick the field goals. We need to practice."
Right.
And so we kicked the field goal, and then we after that, when I told Vance, I said, "Man, if any more touchdowns we score, I want you to kick them because Jan's our backup long snapper." Right. Gash is our backup holder, and Vance is our backup
so you
kicker.
need to let them do it.
Just let them do it, just in case. If we ever need it down the road, we have it. So
No, I don't blame you.
That was another great thing that I thought I was happy about getting that done because that's something I've always believed in.
Sure. They got to be ready.
And he kicked off too. Vance did the next 2 kickoffs also. So.
He did. So give us, Coach, your overall thoughts on the game and your takeaways from the night.
Yeah, the overall thought is that I'm always concerned. I mean, I'm always concerned. I'm probably the biggest pessimist ever, which I don't need to be, but it was great to see the players come out and do what they did. So what I just thinking through, it was nice to have a game like that where you were in control the whole time, but it is concerning on another level because of this week. We don't want to get complacent and think that we've arrived. We've still got to work, and so. But it was nice to have that kind of game, and I think I told our players, we can either 1 or 2 things are going to happen. Either we're going to go in there and do what we're supposed to do and come out feeling really good, or we're going to go in there and come out like we did at Forest View, aggravated and frustrated. So which one do we want to do getting ready to go into the playoffs? And so they did what made us feel better, which is a good thing. And then the second thing I wrote down just as a takeaway is getting the young players reps is important for our future, and getting quality reps on a varsity field on Friday night is something that you can't replace. There's no other way to get that kind of experience for them, not even at practice. And then the last takeaway is that usually we talk about enjoying getting wins and celebrating wins, and we want to do that. But this week's a little bit different. We don't have time to celebrate, and we don't have time to enjoy even that game. We've got bigger things that we got to worry about, and this week's going to be a big week. It is,
and we're going to talk about them in just a moment and go from there. So, big conference win. We finish out the season, regular season, 8-2. One loss in the conference, so that has us tied for first, of course. But with the playoff seedings where they go, of course, South Point got the nod. But we got the win, 54-6 over North Gaston to close out the regular season. And when we come back after the break, we're going to talk about East Lincoln and see what we have in store, seeing them come in on Friday. So stick around. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
Mountaineer Football Tonight is sponsored by H.B. Jones Appraisals, KM Family YMCA, KM Paint Pros LLC, Arthur Services Incorporated, Harris Funeral Home,
Welcome back, fans. Coach, first round of the playoffs this coming week. Obviously, we know we've got. I know the fans that like me have looked at that bracket 100 times already. First round Friday night here. East Lincoln is coming into town. I know Coach Beam, their offensive coordinator, and I know his son is a receiver. I think his other son is the backup quarterback. So I think he's a little younger, but he might have been the JV quarterback. Regardless, I know that they're really explosive. They got big play capability. They got a good running back. What can we expect aside from the fact we already know they're a good team, obviously. Yeah. What can we expect from them when we see them Friday night?
A little bit of everything. They throw it probably more than they run it. They've got a really good quarterback that he can throw it and put it right where he wants it. He makes good throws. They've got a couple of really good receivers that run great routes, and then they also have the running back that's a really good player. So offensively, they are explosive. They can make plays. It's a kind of an air raid type system, which is a little bit different. And people think that it's just throwing the ball deep, and it's not. They're going to pick and choose. They're going to find the soft spots where you don't have people, and they're going to throw it there. And like I said, this guy, he can throw it. The kid can put it wherever he wants it. And then he also has escape capability. He can get away from you, and that causes problems and issues too. Defensively, you can tell that they're well coached. You can tell that they have a lot of confidence in what they're doing. They play fast and they play hard, and so we've talking about it and going through a good scouting report and talking. We have got to do a good job of protecting the football and getting first downs, and getting the big plays are going to be few and far between. So we've got to do a great job of controlling our side of the ball when we have it, and so it's about as bad of a draw I think that we can get. As far as matchups, I don't think we match up extremely well with them, but it's all about who goes out and makes plays. It's probably going to be a really good high school football game.
Yeah, and sometimes when you going through games like this, like you've played against, South Point, Crest, even early on Shelby when you're playing better teams, Burns when we held that lead and beat them, Ashbrook of course. Sometimes when you go through those, even in the playoffs, they help you. And this sounds crazy, but I almost would rather play a little bit of a tougher game than an easier one for down the road. Mm-hmm. Because if you do get through it and you end up doing and executing well like you want to, it just, I think it makes you better in the long run.
Right.
Sometimes the way the playoffs are now, I think, this is just my opinion, but I think too many teams get in. And I think because so many teams get in, it kind of weakens it sometimes, especially for the teams that are near the top. But that's neither here nor there. They don't care what I think. I know that we just have to win the game in front of us. And you're right, 3A West is tough. I mean, when you've got our team, you've got East Lincoln, you've got North Lincoln, you've got Crest, you've got South Point, you've got Dudley, you've got AC Reynolds, Hickory. I mean, it's a tough bracket.
Yep.
But that's why you play.
That's right.
And you get prepared and do it. And I'm looking forward to it. I know it'll be a big atmosphere, and I know the boys will be ready to go from there. It should be a good, cool night and ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, we started out the week not having the best practice, but we finished this week. Wednesday, we had a really good practice. They were really focused and locked in the way they need to be. And tomorrow we're calling for rain and cold weather, and we're gonna practice. We're gonna do something. Yeah. So we'll get something done, but we just don't know how much. Yeah. And they do a lot of things in their special teams that it just makes it hard for you because it's stuff that you got to prepare for, even though they may not do it. Right. But we've got to get we've already started on it, of course, but we've got to get it all done and finalized tomorrow. So we've got a little obstacle coming our way, but we just got to have them ready on Friday. Yeah.
So let's do our Butler Outdoor Designs Players of the Week. We'll do like we've been doing. We'll do overall, and then we'll do offense, defense, and special teams, and the teammate of the week.
All right. So, and I got to think about that. For overall, we went with Samaj Odoms. He had a great week. He led the team in defensive production points with 65. He had 4 tackles and 3 sacks and 3 tackles for loss. So he was all over them. They had a really hard time blocking him, but he had a great game. Offensively, honorable mentions would be number 1, our offensive line. Mm-hmm. All of them, they had a great game. I thought Gash, he had 4 catches for 96 yards and 2 touchdowns, which was really good. But our offensive player of the week would be TJ Armstrong. Yeah. He was only 5 for 8. That doesn't seem like a lot, but you can't ask him. He could have stood back there and thrown it all night long. Yeah. But he was 5 for 8, had 147 yards and 3 touchdowns. So we're gonna go with TJ as our offensive player of the week. Defensive player of the week. Honorable mentions, Thomas Fair had 3 tackles and tackle for loss, 2 sacks, which was good. Antonio had 6 tackles, and remember, they didn't play long. These guys are used to having 13, 12, 13, 14 tackles a game, but they weren't out there that long. But Antonio, 6 tackles. He had a fumble recovery, a defensive score, a sack, tackle for loss. He had a good game for the time he played it there. And then, but our defensive player of the week is going to be Lathan Feemster. He ended up with 46 production points. He had 6 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, blocked a punt, and had a 3rd down stop. So Lathan Feemster will be the defensive player of the week. And then for special teams player of the week, it's hard. You had Matt. Matt's done. He did really well. Kicked the ball well. Had 2 touchbacks and had a field goal, and he did well. But I'm gonna go with Gabe. I think Gabe Short had his best night snapping. He was 100% on all the PATs and the field goal snaps, and like I've said this over and over again. There's nothing better than having a long snapper that you don't have to worry about. Right. So I'm gonna go with Gabe as the special teams player of the week.
His mom will be happy.
There you go.
That's teammate of the week.
All right, so
I heard you talking out there. They had to go put the hat on. I didn't hear you say that.
Yes. So I always get confused because we just name one. But this week's teammate of the week is Jameer Kennedy.
Nice.
Jameer is he's the one. He had the interception at the end of the Crest game to seal that deal, which was awesome. But he was picked to be this week's teammate of the week, and he's a great kid. Just does what we ask him to do. He's young. He's only 10th grader, getting a lot of snaps at safety, and he's learning and getting better every day. So, but the players thought that he would be a great teammate of the week because he doesn't really say a whole lot, just comes out and does his job.
Yeah, that's good, and that's what you want. I tell you, Coach, you're talking about the young players. One of the things, and I said this a few weeks ago, what I like about it is we're using a lot of young guys that are getting good playing time and they're producing.
Yes.
And especially, defensively, to me, our defensive front seven has been solid. It's not that our defensive backs have not been,
right?
But even it's like that whole unit now has started to really just dominate.
Yeah.
And I think just from watching, when the way they played well in really big games to where that just continues to build confidence. I know that sounds like just an obvious statement, but to me, when you're able to stop teams that are explosive, I mean, Ashbrook is explosive, Crest is explosive. I'm not saying we shut them out, but that we made plays. The second half of the Crest game we did. Yeah. But we were able to make plays, and they were beginning to gel. And then the offense is clicking. And I mean, I know you're pleased with where they are, but I also know there's always more work to do.
Oh yeah.
And so this week will be a challenge.
It's going to be a challenge. That's the thing about it. And it's a shame to be a co-champion in your conference and be 8-2, only have one loss, and end up as a 13 seed, and one of the teams in the conference that you beat is seated higher than you are, and with the same record. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And but we have to be proud of the fact that preseason, I think our conference picked us to be 4th, maybe 5th, somewhere in there, and so to be where we are, a lot of credit goes to the kids for believing in what we were doing and going out and getting it done.
I agree with that, and I was sharing inside my own home that what I've enjoyed. I agree with everything you just said, and then what I enjoy too is nobody's talked about you guys a lot.
No.
And I like that.
Me too.
Everybody's talked about the talking heads, and if you want to listen to them, you can. I don't. I like to read them for entertainment, but they talk about everybody else, and that's good.
Yes.
Because that could bode well for us. But I said off air, I don't, and I've said this on social media. I don't like the way they do the playoffs. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with. I mean, AC Reynolds, I know, is a really good team.
Yeah.
But how can they be sitting here at 5-4? And they've got the RPI or the conference or the playoff seeding of a 12 or 11, wherever they are. And I'm like, I just don't understand that. And I still don't. I don't like how they do the split conferences either. I'm gonna go ahead and say it on air. I don't think it's right that a team is the first of their division in their split conference and they get a nod over a team with a stronger RPI maybe, but because they were a conference champion. I don't agree with that either.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that maybe when the realignment comes next year, maybe some of this will flesh out.
Maybe some changes will happen. I think they have sent out a questionnaire to athletic directors. I think Coach Bridges has responded to it, and I think that there's an opportunity for something to change, but whether or not it will, who knows? But the bottom line is it doesn't matter. It does matter. It would be very helpful to have some easier games, and they get harder and harder as it goes. But bottom line is it's week to week, and it wouldn't bother me a bit if we played one of the toughest teams in the state right off the bat. If you win it, then the rest of them ought to be easy. Yeah. So it is what it is. You got to go play. And
you got to win to keep going. That seems cliche, but that's the truth. I mean, in order to accomplish your goals, you got to win. And I'm looking forward to it.
It's gonna be a battle. I can promise you, it'll be a battle.
Well, I'm gonna let you get out of here, Coach. I don't want to tell you. I'm not gonna make you say personal stuff on the air, but I will tell you, just fans that were around me Friday night. A lot of fans are asking and want to let you know they've been praying for you and for Bridget and your son and your father-in-law. you don't have to just.
Well, I'll say this: he's my father-in-law is back home as of yesterday. He got back home from the hospital, doing a little better. But my wife spent her first night at home with us in 10 days. So it was great for her.
Yeah.
She crashed last night.
bet she
She was so tired. But we've gotten through it, but it's still more to go. She's going to spend the night with them again tonight. Yeah. So it is what it is. That's what you do. That's what we're supposed to do.
Well, the fans are asking.
Yeah. We appreciate the prayers and keep them coming.
Yeah, they will.
Keep them coming.
That's where our folks are, and they'll be here Friday night.
Yes, sir.
Coach, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Get out here and go see your family.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll be back after a quick break, and we'll talk about this week at Kings Mountain. Stick around.
Mountaineer Football Tonight is sponsored by H.B. Jones Appraisals, KM Family YMCA, KM Paint Pros LLC, Arthur Services Incorporated, Harris Funeral Home,
Drew had to tell me the flag was going across. I saw it. We wanted to do that really quick. We know it's Wednesday, but it is Wednesday. See you, Coach. We know it's Wednesday of Veterans Day week, Armistice Day as it was known before. But we want to celebrate our veterans. We know. How about that? 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, into World War I. Now Veterans Day. And we want to say thank you to our veterans and salute them because we know there are a lot out there who are fans of the Kings Mountain Mountaineers and watch our show and come to our ball games. So thank you. And I try to tell veterans that I know and that I meet, because of folks like you who are veterans, we are able to do things like this. So we appreciate you very, very much for what you do and for being a part of Mountaineer Nation. Let's look at this week at Kings Mountain. Of course, we're already at Wednesday because we've had to have a couple things come in for our families we had to take care of. So we're going to pick up with today. Wrestling was at Olympic at 6. So they are there right now wrestling. Swimming is at home tomorrow at 6. Friday, of course, the football game versus East Lincoln. That's the first round. We'll show you something about that in a second. And then Saturday, they are traveling for a tournament at Chase. Good luck to our wrestling team and our swim team. Mountaineer football, of course, this Friday. Pregame is at 6:30. Kickoff is at 7:30. It'll be here at John Gamble. We're hosting the Mustangs of East Lincoln. They come in 7-3. We are 8-2. Of course, it'll be, if you're not able to be here, it will be on the YouTube channel, and you can watch it there. You can buy tickets ahead of time at Hometown Tickets or at the gate. Our fan of the week, Mr. Joseph Bell, looking strong and powerful up there in the stands. Congratulations, Mr. Bell. Well deserved, and as I've said each week, you don't get anything for winning, but congratulations for being the fan of the week. And being chosen, and thank you for supporting the Mountaineers. So, what do we got, Drew? Another graphic? Nope. That's it. So we appreciate you tuning into the show tonight. Before I go, I want to do like I always do, remind you that kmtouchdownclub.com is where you need to go to join the Kings Mountain Touchdown Club. As I say every week on the show and on the air, they make everything possible that we do, and they are supportive of and fund or help everything Mountaineer, whether it be academic, athletic, club related, what have you. Kings Mountain Touchdown Club helps us. So thank you to all the members of the Touchdown Club who put their time and energy and efforts and other resources into us being able to do these kinds of things. If you would like to join, you can go to kmtouchdownclub.com, or you can see David or Marie Brinkley or see one of us, and we'll help you get involved and get signed up. So like and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not already done so. As I also always tell you each week, the more likes and subscriptions we have, the better it is for us and the better it is for you because it keeps us on the air. And we appreciate you doing that. Finally, we'll remind you to come out Friday. You already know about it, and support us in the first round of the playoffs, and let's see what happens after that. Tough and formidable team coming in with East Lincoln Mustangs on Friday here at John Gamble. I would like to also tell you to remember to pray for the folks in Western North Carolina who in many places are still recovering from the flood. Keep them in your thoughts and prayers. I want to also tell you to think of our families as we are struggling with some things. Coach Herron's family with his father-in-law, of course, that's good news, but continue to pray for them. And just pray for some of the folks. We had a loss in our extended family this week, so pray that we are the Broom family in York, South Carolina. Just pray for comfort for them, and they will feel your prayers and the love from there. Hug your families, love your kids. Thank you for looking in and watching us this week, and have a great and fantastic, productive week. Be blessed.
Mountaineer Football Tonight is sponsored by H.B. Jones Appraisals, KM Family YMCA, KM Paint Pros LLC, Arthur Services Incorporated, Harris Funeral Home,